All right, Dallas and I will now be dealing with the second question posed to atheists by one theist. And the second question is your trust in science based on faith or based on science? We're going to have to unpack this a bit. Dallas?
That is a bit loaded. I mean, the way that it's been phrased. Okay, so first of all, we need to start out by defining a couple of these terms. So one is faith. The other one, of course, is science. Mm-hmm. And the other one is trust. Mm-hmm. So let's start with faith, because we tend to have a little bit of a difference when it comes to the concept of what faith is. But I would like to have you give your definition of what faith is.
Well, because the word faith is most commonly used by theists, biblical theists, I would presume that the biblical definition of faith is the one we should adhere to if we're going to be using the word at all.
Okay.
Otherwise, we should be using words such as rational belief or irrational belief.
Yeah.
I think the word trust falls into this category of vagueness also. Mm-hmm. So both trust, faith, they're rather vague. I think it's better if we define the terms.
So faith is the evidence of things unseen, and
things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, right?
Yeah, so how can we take that and approach science? Because science is definitely based upon observation.
Well,
because I mean the biblical definition of faith, right?
I think that passage in Hebrews is rather vague itself. I think that a better example of biblical faith is when there was a man with a sick boy who came to Jesus, and Jesus asked him if he believed, and he says, "Yes, I believe. Help thou my unbelief."
Yeah.
In the old King James.
Yeah.
Which means that he's actually requesting more faith without any evidence from the person whose credibility was in question, mm-hmm. which to me seems very absurd. Mm-hmm. And one more example is where Jesus blessed those who did not see, yet believed, instead of blessing those.
So, but faith and belief, I mean, maybe that's something we need to clarify, the difference between faith and belief.
Well, both faith and belief are general words. You can have irrational belief or rational belief. The way faith is being thrown around these days, you can have rational faith, it seems, if Christians insist on science being faith-based, or you can have irrational faith. I don't care which word you use, as long as you use it consistently and as qualified with the qualifiers rational or irrational.
Mm-hmm. So, but again, my question is, if you want to take the biblical definition of faith and then apply that to this question, I think we sort of run into this quandary.
I want to throw out faith.
Yeah, me too. Because actually, I don't think science is based on faith. It's based on evidence.
Biblical faith is irrational.
Yes.
Scientific faith, if you want to call it faith.
By definition, biblical faith is irrational.
Yeah.
I mean,
scientific faith is presumably tries to make the belief as rational as possible by providing as much substantiation, evidence as possible.
Yeah, it's confidence.
That's right.
That's so. I think we should redefine this. So let's say,
but confidence is itself somewhat of an emotion.
It is, for sure.
I don't even like the word confidence.
There's an emotional component to it.
Yeah.
But
confidence itself is a statistical word also.
Yes, and that's
level
that's the way that I approach it.
Which is an objective level of confidence.
Yes.
Which is quantifiable.
Yes.
Human confidence is emotional. And so
Correct.
There's an ambiguity there also.
When I say confidence, I'm talking about the probability.
Okay. Because most people do not.
The statistical definition.
So you and I can agree on that, but most people do not think of confidence that way. So yeah. I'm a little bit leery of that word also.
Okay.
So there's confidence, there's faith, there's trust. Let's limit ourselves to the words, to the terms, rational belief or irrational belief. So.
All right, we'll go with that.
Let me simplify and say, belief in the Bible is irrational. Belief in science is rational. Can you pick up from there?
Yeah. Okay, so why do we say that belief in science is rational? Well, let's think about the
process,
the scientific process, right? What do? What we do is we observe something, and then we hypothesize, and then we go back and test the hypothesis, looking for repeatability in the observation. And then we assign a confidence level to those observations with regards to the hypothesis, eventually leading to laws and whatnot. So when we talk about the scientific process, and when we talk about faith in science, it really simply is that because we have experienced and because we have observed certain natural phenomena, or because we have observed systems, then we can make assumptions based on those observations and a confidence level that has been, attributed to that experience or to that observation to make different decisions or to make other assumptions. So when he asks if our quote-unquote trust in science is based on faith or based in science, well, I would say it's based in science.
Well, I think the reason why he posed the question this way is to make it look circular.
Yeah, he's trying to make it look circular. It isn't. But in reality, what is it? It comes down to, yes, it is possible for us to not trust evidence, and that's when irrational faith comes in. That's when irrational belief, even if we're presented with the evidence, we may emotionally determine that there's no way, or that there has to be some other possibility or some other explanation or something, to the degree that we're willing to throw away evidence or throw away observation.
And let me point out that our confidence in science is never absolute.
Never.
We believe science only to the degree that it works. To the degree that it does not work, we have doubt.
Correct. Which has everything to do with reproducibility.
That's right.
And to ask the question, as you said, it's loaded, or I said it's loaded. As you said, it's circular. He's trying to get us to fall into a logic trap, because he's coming from the mindset that, well, you have to have faith in some system, and that faith itself has to be sort of the foundation upon which you can build that system.
That's right.
For example, the scientific process has to be established on a faith system, before you can come and build that the scientific process on top of it. So.
Right. And the scientific process is evolving.
Yeah.
It is ever more approximating
correct
truth,
truth
or reality, but it will never take us there all the way, because we're subjective creatures. We don't have access to absolute knowledge.
Yes, that's right.
Because everything...
We're not omnipotent.
That's right. And everything...
Omniscient.
All knowledge we receive through our senses, through things that may be fallible.
Yes, that's right.
So
speaking of faith, and here's an interesting thing. I like to ask Christians this question too. Is that when Peter was witness to the Transfiguration, and later on when he is discussing his experience of the Transfiguration of Christ, he also talks about how even he himself cannot trust the physical experience that he had. But essentially what he says is that even experience can belie truth. And so what he wants to say is that even if he's witnessed angels, even if he's witnessed Christ being transfigured, his faith is stronger than his experience of that event.
That's ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Because
why would you have confidence beyond the evidence?
And why would God do that for you if you weren't to have confidence in that event?
That's right.
I mean, the Bible talks about certain gifts and movings of the Spirit for the purpose of edifying, or building up the faith in Christians, right? When he talks about prophecy, he talks about tongues and interpretation of tongues. These type of things, these miracles, as it were, they're really just spiritual gifts, but they are otherworldly, and yet at the same time, the purpose of them is to build up faith. Right. So the Transfiguration, of course, had something to do with building faith in Peter, because he was going to be the foundation upon which Christ built the church or whatever.
Right.
So if you yes, the Bible is the antithesis of scientific belief, scientific-based, scientific principles.
Yeah. Biblical faith is irrational. Scientific faith attempts to be as rational as possible.
Yeah.
It's not always perfect, but that's the goal.
Yes. All right, that's a good answer.